I think we all remember back in May when the World Health Organization classified gaming disorder as a disorder. There were so many people thinking there would be clinics for gamers across the world and clinics for those addicted to gaming. Obviously, that concept is pretty out there, and I have explained in another video in depth about how the classification of gaming disorder doesn't affect North America, yet at least. It is a very complicated situation to discuss and to explain, but in the United States of America, for instance, when you are being diagnosed by a medical professional, you are not being diagnosed by the ICD-11. That is not what our physicians use. The United States of America goes by the DSM, or the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. The newest edition for that is edition 5, and it is published by the APA. The American Psychiatric Association, which is the largest psychiatric organization in the world, if I may add. The ICD, or the International Classification of Diseases, is published by the World Health Organization, which is widely used throughout Europe. Now, this may be a lot of information, but it is important to note because of who classified it as a disorder. But the conversation of games being addicting and the conversation of people being addicted to games has been around for many years. There have been many studies called upon to find evidence if gaming disorder is real or not, if someone can become addicted to gaming. But what we are discussing today is the fact that a new study has been published that finds no evidence supporting gaming disorder, and that we need to be looking at underlying issues like psychological issues, since long periods of gaming doesn't look like they cause any psychological issues themselves. Now, before I start reading the article and the findings, I'm not saying that addiction to gaming is not real. Anyone can experience addiction, and it is a very powerful thing, and it is especially easy to experience when it comes to things that you enjoy, such as gaming or even technology. We see things as such enjoyable experiences that it is not easy to realize how much time or even money you are putting into said hobby. So this is the summary of the study that I will be reading. It will be linked in the description along with the original study. I did read through most of this study myself. It is pretty lengthy, though I do feel like this is an accurate description and summary of the whole study. It reads, based on data from over 1,000 adolescents and their caregivers, the study suggests those engaged in dysfunctional gaming are likely to have underlying frustrations in wider psychosocial functioning issues outside of games. These issues are likely to lead to them seeking contentment by gaming, rather than being negatively impacted by gaming itself. This is a very bold statement. The professor and director of research at the Oxford Internet Institute and co-author of the study said, the World Health Organization and the American Psychiatric Association have called on researchers to investigate the clinical relevance of dysregulated video gaming among adolescents, as previous studies have failed to examine the wider context of what is going on in these young people's lives. And this is so important. I have always said, maybe we should look at the larger picture and the wider spectrum, and maybe it is not gaming itself, but things that are affecting their lives. Our findings provided no evidence suggesting an unhealthy relationship with gaming accounts for substantial emotional, peer, and behavioral problems. Instead, variations in gaming experience are much more likely to be linked to whether adolescents' basic psychological needs for competence, autonomy, and social belonging are met, and if they are already experiencing wider functioning issues. In light of our findings, we do not believe sufficient evidence exists to warrant thinking about gaming as a clinical disorder in its right. The study tested hypotheses considering the extent to which adolescents exhibiting dysregulated gaming reliably links to whether their basic psychological needs were met. Adolescents complete questionnaires about their gaming behavior, including providing details on how long they've spent playing video games, with whom they played with, and if they use the internet to play games, and their caregivers rated their child's emotional and social health. These are the main facts that we need to be looking at, as the key findings include most adolescents play at least one internet-based game daily. Less than half of daily online gamers reported symptoms of obsessive gaming, which is a very big finding. Daily players were highly engaged, devoting an average of 3 hours a day to games, and there was little evidence that obsessive gaming significantly impacted adolescents' outcomes. Dr. Netta Weinstein, senior lecturer, School of Psychology, said, "We urge healthcare professionals to look more closely at the underlying factors such as psychological satisfactions and everyday frustrations to understand why a minority of players feel like they must engage in gaming in an obsessive way." I have said this from the beginning. I do not think that it is gaming itself. I think that anyone can become addicted to something that they enjoy. And unfortunately, a lot of people see if you spend a lot of time with one specific activity that you really like, they will label it as obsessive and addictive. They'll say that you are addicted. Just because someone spends time, they dedicate their time to this one hobby or this one thing that they enjoy, does not mean they are obsessed with it and does not mean they are addicted with it. The word addiction is a very strong word, and it should not be thrown around in every case scenario that you can. Whilst the growing popularity of gaming has incited concerns from healthcare and mental health professionals, our research provides no compelling evidence that games on their own are to blame for problems facing players. We need better data and the cooperation of video gaming companies if we are to get to the bottom of this. Now, honestly, I'm not really sure if many video game companies would do this, if they would cooperate with people that want to create studies and want evidence, because they're worried that the evidence could come back and that they could say people are so addicted to games, they're so addicted to all of these things, and then they will be labeled as bad, and they are worried about their bottom line. But I am sure that there are some solid companies out there that would cooperate and really give researchers some data. Like I said earlier, this has been a topic of discussion for a very long time, and I doubt that this will be the last time that we hear about studies like this one, but it is important to me to discuss studies like this when they are published. It is very important to me. But if you enjoyed this video and this study, please make sure to give this video a like. And of course, if you did not, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way. Also, make sure to share this video if you have stuck to the end. But I hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.